For centuries, shipbuilders searched for materials that could survive the worst conditions the ocean could offer: constant saltwater exposure, crushing loads, relentless biological attack, and decades of service without repair. Most wood failed that test eventually. Oak rotted, pine split. Even carefully treated hulls deteriorated under marine borers and fungus. And yet one material existed that seemed almost purpose-built for the task. It could survive underwater for centuries without significant decay. Shipworms struggled to penetrate it. Saltwater barely affected it. Its density made hulls extraordinarily strong, resistant to damage, and capable of surviving long voyages with minimal structural degradation. In fact, shipwrecks built with it have been discovered after hundreds of years on the seafloor with major structural components still intact. This wood was known as Greenheart. By the 19th century, naval architects, engineers, and dockyard officials knew exactly what it could do. It had already proven itself in docks, bridge pilings, lock gates, and heavy maritime construction throughout the British Empire. In some cases, the timber survived submerged for more than 500 years. Under normal historical logic, such a material should have become indispensable, but it didn't. Shipbuilders gradually moved away from it. Naval construction shifted toward other materials, first iron, then steel, while Greenheart retreated to niche roles in marine infrastructure. The story of why reveals something deeper than a simple technological shift. It reflects the practical limits of materials, the realities of global logistics, and the difficult choices engineers make when durability collides with economics, weight, and industrial scale. The remarkable durability of Greenheart was discovered in the forests of northern South America. Greenheart comes from Chlorocardium rhodioe, a hardwood native to the dense tropical forests of Guyana and parts of the Guyana Shield in northern South America. The tree itself does not immediately stand out as extraordinary. It grows slowly, often reaching heights of around 30 meters, producing a dense, dark, olive-brown timber. But the internal structure of the wood is unusually compact. The grain is tight, and the density can exceed 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. Heavy enough that, believe it or not, freshly cut Greenheart can actually sink in water. That density turned out to be the key to its durability. Marine environments destroy most wood through two mechanisms: biological attack and slow structural breakdown. Shipworms, which are actually a type of mollusk, burrow into submerged wood and can reduce an untreated hull to structural failure in just a few years. Meanwhile, fungi and bacteria degrade cellulose fibers when oxygen and moisture are present. Greenheart resists both processes. Its natural oils and chemical compounds deter marine borers. Its dense cellular structure slows water penetration and limits the spread of decay organisms. And because the wood is so hard, mechanical wear from waves and debris occurs far more slowly than with softer timber. By the early 19th century, British colonial engineers working in Guyana noticed something striking. Dock pilings made from Greenheart lasted decades longer than those made from European oak. Some installations survived for over a century with minimal deterioration. That observation transformed the wood into a strategic resource. In the age of wooden ships, the greatest enemy of a vessel was not enemy cannon fire, it was biological decay. Ships operating in tropical waters faced constant damage from marine borers. Hull planks that lasted 20 years in cold northern seas might fail in 5 years near the equator. Warships and merchant vessels had to be hauled into dry dock regularly for repairs. Maintenance costs were enormous, and operational readiness suffered. Greenheart offered a solution. When used in exposed underwater components, rudders, keels, shaft bearings, dock pilings, it lasted dramatically longer than traditional timbers. By the mid-1800s, the British government began importing large quantities of Greenheart from Guyana. It became a preferred material for lock gates, harbor works, and dockyards across the empire. In ports such as Liverpool, London, and Portsmouth, Greenheart pilings formed the skeleton of maritime infrastructure. In some documented cases, these structures survived more than 100 years with minimal maintenance. The reputation of the wood grew steadily among naval engineers. But using Greenheart for entire ships was, well, another matter. The same properties that made Greenheart durable also made it difficult to build with. Greenheart is exceptionally hard. That hardness is part of what gives it such long life in water, but it also creates serious challenges during construction. Traditional shipbuilding relied on shaping large wooden components with hand tools and relatively simple machinery. Oak, though strong, can be cut, steamed, and bent into the complex curves required for hull frames and planking. Greenheart behaves differently. The wood is so dense that cutting it rapidly dulls tools. Saw blades wear down quickly, nails and fasteners bend or break. Even modern equipment, honestly, struggles with it compared to softer hardwoods. More importantly, Greenheart is difficult to bend. Ship hulls depend on curved structural members, frames that define the shape of the vessel. These were traditionally shaped through steam bending, a process where heated wood becomes flexible enough to curve into place. Greenheart resists this process. Its rigidity makes it far less cooperative during shaping, which dramatically increases labor time and cost. For shipyards already operating under tight production schedules, the material became, well, impractical for large-scale hull construction. So, while Greenheart was ideal for specific components, it proved inefficient for building entire ships. Weight also created a serious performance problem at sea. Another limitation was weight. Greenheart's density, one of its greatest strengths in resisting decay, creates a disadvantage in ship design. A hull built primarily from Greenheart would be significantly heavier than one made from oak or pine. That additional weight reduces cargo capacity, increases draft, and slows overall speed. For naval vessels, speed and maneuverability were crucial tactical advantages. For merchant ships, cargo capacity determined profitability. Ship designers had to balance durability against operational efficiency. A vessel that lasted longer but carried less cargo, or sailed more slowly, could actually be economically inferior to a lighter, less durable ship. This trade-off became especially important during the 19th century as global trade expanded and shipping companies competed on speed and volume. Durability alone was no longer the primary metric. Industrialization changed shipbuilding faster than Greenheart could be adopted. Even if Greenheart had been easier to work with, another historical development was already reshaping naval architecture: the transition from wooden ships to iron and steel. By the mid-1800s, industrial metallurgy began producing large quantities of structural iron. Shipbuilders quickly recognized the advantages. Iron hulls could be larger, stronger, and easier to standardize than wooden ones. Steel eventually followed, offering even greater strength-to-weight ratios. This shift, really transformed shipbuilding into a fundamentally different industry. Instead of carpenters shaping natural materials, shipyards became industrial assembly sites using riveted metal plates and standardized components. Greenheart entered widespread maritime use just as this transition accelerated. By the time engineers fully appreciated its potential durability, the age of large wooden warships was already ending. As a result, Greenheart found its long-term role not in ships themselves, but in the infrastructure that supported them. The wood quietly became one of the most reliable materials in maritime engineering. Although it never dominated ship hull construction, Greenheart remained invaluable for parts of the maritime world where durability mattered more than weight or shaping difficulty. Harbor engineers used it extensively for lock gates, dock pilings, bridge supports, underwater bearings, and fender systems protecting piers. In these roles, Greenheart could remain submerged for decades with minimal deterioration. Some installations built in the 19th century remained functional well into the 20th. Even in modern engineering, Greenheart is still used for certain marine applications where synthetic materials cannot easily replicate its combination of strength, abrasion resistance, and biological durability. Its reputation among engineers remains unusually strong for a natural material. The lesson is that the best material is not always the most widely used. History often assumes that superior technology naturally replaces inferior alternatives, but engineering decisions rarely follow such simple logic. Greenheart was, in many ways, one of the most durable timbers ever used in maritime construction. Underwater, it could survive conditions that destroyed most other woods, but shipbuilding is not governed by durability alone. Weight, cost, workability, supply chains, and technological change all influence what materials survive in large-scale use. In the case of Greenheart, the wood arrived at the height of the wooden ship era, just as that era was ending. Its strengths made it invaluable for infrastructure, but its limitations prevented it from reshaping ship design itself. This is a recurring pattern throughout military and industrial history. The materials that appear perfect in theory often collide with practical constraints in the real world. Understanding overlooked materials tells us how survival and engineering actually evolve. When historians examine shipwrecks, harbors, or naval infrastructure, materials like Greenheart reveal something important about human adaptation. Survival, whether in maritime travel, warfare, or infrastructure, depends on more than discovering strong materials. It depends on balancing durability with logistics, production capacity, and operational needs. The story of Greenheart reminds us that even the most resilient resources must fit within larger systems of technology and economy, and sometimes the strongest solution simply arrives at the wrong moment in history. If you value deeper historical analysis like this, stories that uncover the overlooked decisions behind survival, engineering, and military logistics, subscribe to Logistics of Survival. And if you found this episode valuable, share it with others who appreciate history that goes beyond the surface.